I'm going to do like Jenna did, I think, and read Evelyn's work first. Evelyn Duncan, who is not with us, is one of the cleverest poets I've ever known, and widely published. She was published in the New Yorker when she was young. This is a poem of hers called Lovely Similes. It's sort of like the bad Hemingway contest. Sunrise splattered the sky like a thrown egg. Light slithered over the sill like a snake. The alarm clattered like nickels in a tin can. Last night, he said, this room was like a thread in joy's cocoon. Her yawn was like a cavern in Howe's cave. Back off, Buster, she said, in life's coffee pot, you're like a drag. I'm crushed, he said, like stones by mortar and pestle. I'm fed up, he said, like a diner in an all-you-can-eat cafe. So I'm leaving, he said, like a happy hobo, like a paroled con, like a seaworthy ship. I'm on my way. Evelyn wrote this poem, I believe, in honor of her 80th birthday, and there's not a word of truth in it, I can tell you that. She is very sharp, but she was making fun of her age. Birthday girl. They say they brain lose cells as you become age. Not like that for me at 8ly. I'm consummating healthy food and getting plenty of exorcism. Walking at least a mole every day. Mind sharp as a tick. We miss her. There are thousands, probably, of writers' conferences every summer in this country, writers' conferences and workshops and all that. And come springtime, all the brochures start showing up in my mailbox, wanting me to come. Let us make you famous. I'm afraid some of these brochures bring out the worst in me. Writers' Conference brochure. Youngish, mostly, and artfully summer-clothed, piano legs planted firmly, or knobby knees self-consciously bent as if to genuflect. The little workshop, seldom more than 10, gathers close in front of, where else? The barn. Smiling to beat the band, each with a pearl buried deep in a soft mollusk belly. One obligatory black face in a sea of hopeful white. From evening podia, publishers pontificate, agents encourage. Faculty and contributors meet for earnest one-on-ones. Well-known writers and lesser poets pose for unsmiling photos to show how serious they are, and with what an air of mystery beyond these strivers. Still, you too is the message, even you. There's a writer I like called Lydia Davis, and she writes very short stories and cryptic little poems. And this poem I'm going to read of mine is nothing like hers, but I did steal one of her titles. The title of her poem is How Shall I Mourn Them? And I call mine How Indeed. The 3 sillies of nursery lore sat on the steps and wept over things yet to befall them, as I did once over a set of not yet departed grandparents. And yet, when they went, we were ready, we thought. but perhaps not, since now that spot won't bear the least pressure. I've only to open the silver chest, redolent of decades, only see a weeping willow, a certain kind of street, to hyperventilate with loss, telling myself, stop it, it's just the smell of mountain pines, same as theirs, just the same dry air. But they were fully there, solid in their place, feet on the ground, and now so very not here where I am. My next poem is, next piece I should say, is either a prose poem or a very short story, I'm not sure. I grew up in a little town in West Texas, and I think what this actually is just a piece of genteel gossip, like I used to hear growing up. Perfection. Lily Fox loved beautiful things, but whenever she asked her father for a new dress, he'd say, "You have a dress." When her little sister Winnie asked, their father would say, "Well, honey, I'll buy you a dress." Lily felt overlooked near the bottom of the stack of 10 kids, Mama dead with the last one, baby Ike. Lily had one child who, when she needed a new dress, got one, as did Lily, twice voted one of the 10 best dressed women in West Texas, picture in the paper and everything. After R.C. died, that sweet husband who understood her perfectly, Lily devoted herself to perfecting her youngest granddaughter out of 4. The others either got away too quick or weren't as good material. A biddable child who grew up to be a pharmacist and developed a drug habit like you wouldn't believe. But by then Lily had died, in spite of the pacemaker, while seated on the fern-patterned couch in the sunroom of her nearly perfect house. Rose-red brick with heritage green trim, 2 fireplaces, one Axminster carpeted room leading into another, a silk-covered love seat so fine there was a satin ribbon tied across it to keep people from sitting there. Pink and green coleus crowded the front porch. A Cadillac waited in the garage. In the kitchen, the maid was about to serve a lunch of cold fried chicken and potato salad. Everything in its place, just as close to perfect as Lily could make it. Let's see. A couple of years ago, my husband and I moved from our old farmhouse out in the country where we had lived for 35 years into a house in town. And this was a good move, but there's always this little bit of ambivalence about any big step like that you take. And besides that, human beings are never satisfied. I call this, to yearn is human. In the country, I dream of town. In town, of the country. Long stretches of green and brown between me and the mountains, mountains and me. Old cottonwoods and little springs, noisy beat of summer air, chirp and howl and hoot and tweet, power drill of woodpecker on the chimney stack. If I were there, I'd think of theaters and shops, lunches out and ordering in, walks through chatty neighborhoods to buy toothpaste or stamps, taking on my winding way shortcuts and long cuts through every wooded place, every tree-arched creek path I can possibly find.